Good afternoon, welcome to Solent Sport News. It's 4 o'clock, I'm Lawrence McJanet. It's been a weekend of high drama and even higher emotions in football and Formula One. A post-match interview with Southampton's Charlie Austin has gone viral. The striker's unusually heated rant after the Saints' 1-1 draw with Watford has been eagerly picked up by social media channels worldwide.
It's a joke. They're going about VAR this, VAR that. Help the officials out. Clearly they need help. Clearly, we play in the Premier League, the best league in the world, the most watched league in the world. Give them all the help they need, because clearly they cost us 2 points a day. It's a joke.
Austin scored what looked to be a legitimate second goal before the Hornets equalised, sparking his outburst demanding for VAR. His interview has since been given a musical remix and has been trending all week. Our reporter Jack Atkins has more, but back to that later in the programme. But with the Sunday fixtures being played up and down the country, our reporter Gurpreet sees what people feel about whether games should be played on Remembrance Sunday or not.
Sunday marked the 100-year anniversary since the end of the First World War, and like every 11th of November, Britain paid its respect, and there was no exception on the football pitch as the professional clubs across the nation observed 2 minutes of silence before their respected games. And it was no different for the local teams in England either, as Justina Andrews from Dorset FA explained.
It's not something that we, I guess, enforce on the clubs or anything like that, but as my understanding is that all clubs will, observe that 2 minutes at the beginning of their games. Yeah, I mean, I'd say it's common practice in grassroots football.
Unity FC, a multicultural Sunday League team, were one of the many clubs who paid their respects. Head coach Nazakat Akram spoke about the moment.
Obviously, we stopped the game at 11 o'clock for Remembrance Sunday as well, so that was a nice touch to just kind of everybody to just spend 2 minutes thinking and reflecting on what happened over 100 years ago with all those people giving their lives for our freedom.
Saqib Aslam, a long-serving player at the club, expressed the importance of continuing such a tradition in football.
I think it's incredibly important, that at all levels of football, whether it's Sunday League, Premier League, that everyone pays their respects on such an important day. It also allows you time to reflect on yourself, the past, the present and the future, and I think it's incredibly important that, this tradition continues.
Given the sensitivity of Remembrance Day, is football really that important that it must be played even on such a day like the 11th of November?
I've never come across that, both from my job role, at the county FA, or from playing myself. I've never heard of any requests for games not to be played. So locally, I'm not aware of that.
Although observing the 2-minute silence is not enforced on clubs, it has become a continuing tradition, and as long as players are happy for play to be stopped or for matches to be slightly delayed, I'm sure football will continue to pay their respects. Gurpreet Singh, Solent Sports News.
After a week of Cup football, reporter Connor Summers previews a local Hampshire FA Russell Coates tie between Sholing and AFC Totton.
What a dramatic moment in FA Cup history!
We all know the FA Cup can draw up some magic at the highest of levels, but what about non-league cups? Local teams Sholing and AFC Totton now look ahead to a cup tie tomorrow night in a hope to create some magic of their own. The two teams face each other in the Hampshire FA Russell Coates Cup second round. Sholing Club secretary Greg Dickinson says every game feels like a cup final when you're at the top of the league.
Every game suddenly becomes like a cup final because everybody wants to be the first team to beat us, especially in the league.
AFC Totton come off the back of an FA Trophy defeat to Dorchester away from home. After taking the lead just 2 minutes in, manager Louis Langdown says the home side's equaliser boosted Dorchester's performance.
Credit to Dorch when he scored that sort of 25-yarder top corner, enough give him a lift. It was probably even further than 25 yards, if I'm honest. It was a hell of a strike from Kai. He's a good player, and it seemed to lift them after we sort of rocked them early doors, and to be honest, they popped it around them for 20-25 minutes and made us look very inferior to them.
Despite the weekend's results, both sides will now turn their focus to tomorrow night's game. Greg Dickinson says Sholing will be looking to keep some of their senior players fresh.
We're currently playing Saturday, Tuesday, Saturday at the moment, every single week. So with the squad of players we've got. I know that Dave Darper will be looking to not disrespect AFC Tottenham at all, but he'll be looking at the team rather than AFC Tottenham, and he'll be looking to keep some of our senior players fresh and rotate the players with the fringe players that we've got.
Meanwhile, Tottenham manager Langdown believes his side will have to be at the top of their game to create any magic under the lights tomorrow.
So we know what they're about. They're a good side. I've got a lot of time for Dibes and a lot of time for those boys as well. They're good players, and they'll give us a hell of a game, and we'll have to be right on the money to get anything from them. But we'll have a go with what we've got, and then maybe we can get one or two in between now and Saturday to really help us in the league campaigns.
With the cup tie fast approaching, both teams will be looking to progress in hope of lifting some silverware in the near future. Connor Summers, Solent Sports News.
When you think about sport in India, you immediately think about cricket. But that could all be changing. Football has been growing rapidly over the past 8 years, especially in the women's game. Our reporter Ardash has the story.
Football has started its globalization process by reaching countries where other sports dominate football. A cricket-dominated India has emphasized on the development of football, especially among women. The national representative Aditi Rajagopal from the southern part of India explains what it takes as a woman to represent the country and how immensely it has grown and what scope it has got.
Growing up in India, especially down south, in a city where most people are conservative, we didn't really have much opportunities or scope for any tournaments. Once we started getting results out of it, people started encouraging us. That's when they started to realize that women can be tough as well. The generation from cricket to football, which is like a slow transition that's happening, I think football is going to be a huge hit in India. India is going to improve a lot and, make their way up and the football industry for sure.
Talking about how backward India is in football, we have a state representative, Srinidhi, explaining that to us.
Women's football is still growing in India, but at a very slow rate. And we do not have proper stadium stuffs, and the major drawback is the lack of coaching staff. So the sports and training equipments, they are not enough for the level of football that is going around in the world right now.
And talking about the government's efforts to uplift the sport among women,
the government sponsors educations for girls from urban rural areas, and they sponsor their hostel facilities, and they support them with jerseys, boots and everything.
FIFA once said India is a sleeping giant and very soon the giant will wake up. This is exactly what India is looking to do, and soon enough we can definitely see football as one of the top sports in the country. This is Adarsh for Solent Sports News.
With England's narrow defeat to the All Blacks on Saturday a hot talking point, our reporter Joe Crabb investigates the influence of the game on Team Solent's women's rugby team ahead of their season opener on Wednesday, as well as assessing Eddie Jones's standpoint on the game.
As the rain fell over the 82,000 in attendance at Twickenham Stadium, the last post blew out to remember those who lost their lives in the fight for freedom. It was a touching tribute then that England rugby would go on to battle so ferociously, almost taking down the world's best team in New Zealand.
Oh, out wide it goes, real opportunity. Try time! And it's going to be a try, and then in the corner, try for Ashton, he's back and he's scoring again. And it just opened up for him. There was nobody there to stop Chris Ashton. What a start for England.
But it was not to be. It was, however, an inspiring effort indeed, and one that caught the eye of England head coach Eddie Jones.
Fantastic game of rugby. We're obviously devastated, but you take the good with the bad. We'll learn a lot from that today. We had opportunities to win the game. We didn't take them, they did, so they deserve to win the game. Full credit to New Zealand. But a good rugby test match tussle that we're only going to improve from.
The result seems even better given the fact that England were without many of their key players. Yet Jones thinks that the creativity brought about by his squad was cause for inspiration.
It's a really good step forward because you benchmark yourself against New Zealand. You know, New Zealand are the best team in the world, and we'll get a lot of reward for the work that we've done. You know, you look at it, they've been together 3 months, we've been together 3 weeks.
This fact is then verified by Team Solent women's rugby captain Ellie Osborne, who is looking to replicate England's tactics in the Bucks match against their local rival Southampton this week.
I think the main thing what I looked at anyway was the defensive line. Every time they push, every time they go in for the tackle, there's always people surrounding them as well if they want to offload the ball to anyone, and they're just all there as a team. They don't really leave anyone behind.
Can England continue to inspire the Solent women on to an opening day victory over their bitter rivals? Tune in next week to hear the exclusive match report. Joseph Crabb for Solent Sports News.
On to boxing now, and Tony Bellew heard the bell for the final time in Manchester on Saturday night. But was his retirement premature? Will Fowler reports.
Is there a perfect time to retire as a professional boxer? Tony Bellew bowed out of the sport after an 8th round knockout by Alexander Usyk on Saturday night. The Bomber is 36 at the end of this month and is hanging up the gloves after 20 years in the sport. Here's what Bellew had to say on his retirement.
What can I do? I'm the first one to say there's more to life than boxing. There is more to life than boxing. And I'm gonna show that now with the rest of my life that I've got ahead of me. Everything's in place for me family and my kids and my wife to have a boss life.
The average age of retirement for a professional boxer is 35, but could they stay in the ring for longer? We took to the streets of Southampton to see when people thought they should throw in the towel.
Probably the right sort of age, things start hurting by then.
Well, we seem to have some technical problems here. That's the last of our broadcast. That's all from us for now. We'll be back next week. Till then, goodbye.